We are now going to assume that Annie Borjesson arrives in Prestwick International Railway Station around about 3:20, 3:25. And she walks across the footbridge into Prestwick International Airport. Seen on the CTV cameras, she's obviously gone into the car park. She's there 4.5 minutes. The exact numbers escape me at the moment, but we can definitely provide that. When she comes back into the airport, she, according to a friend who's known her for a long, long time, living in Sweden, said she looked really annoyed, angry, wound up, whatever you would want to call it, and then cleared off down Station Road in Prestwick. Well, in view of the fact she'd never been in Prestwick before, from what we know, then it seems a rather strange thing to do when you consider that she's at Prestwick International Airport to fly home to Sweden. Now, okay, a couple of competing kind of problems here. One, it's alleged that she's seen talking to two men on the street in Prestwick. Remember, she's never been there before. And also that she's found or stood on the promenade, the Esplanade, around about 4 o'clock, 4:25 in the afternoon by one witness, which is not far from where she was found drowned the following morning. That sounds a little bit suspicious and, to be perfectly honest, a little bit misconstrued. However, one of the witnesses, we have a record of his findings, actually said that something that the police jumped onto as their narrative, that she was found stood on the shoreline way out at low tide, and this is probably where she walked into the sea to drown herself. He didn't say that, but the police narrative said that this was the case. Well, in view of the fact that the guy was wearing a camel-coloured anorak, and she had a very, very dark green goose-down coat, which is knee-length, it sounds a little bit unreal. It sounds a little bit, how can we describe it, an engineered witness statement. He wasn't as a witness interviewed by the police. He had to go and present himself at the police station as a citizen, saying, I don't know if this is useful, but I saw a man standing or a woman standing by the sea at low tide, and I couldn't say whether it was a woman or a man or not. However, the police construed this as being tantamount to an acknowledgement that that's where she was. That's not true. Not remotely true. And, it's incredibly suspicious just to, at that time of day, when it was, the gloaming was coming in, as the witness described it, to say that this was Annie, and, 70 kilos of Swedish citizenship standing on the shoreline. We don't think so. But there is a problem. There's a massive problem here, and the problem is exacerbated by the fact that where was Annie from leaving the airport concourse walking down Station Road in the afternoon? And we're guessing, because of the daylight restrictions around about 4:15, 4:30, she must have been mobile around about 3:50, 3:45, 3:50, up until about 4:15, when it would be very, very difficult to actually pick somebody out. We are shown police video. The police said they had seen yards and yards and yards of video, and they'd come to the conclusion this was Annie walking down Station Road. But a former detective inspector that were employed by the family said, no, I wouldn't bet my pension or anything else on the fact that that was Annie. And in fact, I couldn't tell you, even from these images, which were very, very grainy and indistinct, whether it was a man or a woman. Okay, so Annie was walking down Station Road, allegedly. Annie found her way to the Esplanade at Prestwick, apparently. But bite on this if you want. Let's assume that she'd walked out of the airport building, and she'd walked down Station Road. She'd arrived at Prestwick International Airport and, in effect, disappeared. The most scary part of this is there seems to be no record of Annie Borjesson in Prestwick, around Prestwick, in a cafe, a bar, a hotel, anywhere between, let's say, 4:25, when it was alleged she'd been sighted not far from where she'd been drowned on the Esplanade. She was stood there looking out to sea. We don't think so. In fact, it's implausible completely. Until the following morning, when she was found on the beach. Now, because she was found on the beach at that time of day, 8:30 the following morning, it was still a bit grumbly in terms of weather. It was still hardly bright sunshine in that December. Where was she? Between 4:25 and 8:25, 8:30 the following morning, when she was reported drowned by David walking his Alsatian dog along the Esplanade. Where was Annie Borjesson? Because there's absolutely no trace, no identification, nobody came forward, and she was quite a striking girl with incredibly long blonde hair chased back over this dark green goose down coat. So, where was Annie Borjesson between 4 o'clock or so in the afternoon and 8:30 the following morning? 16 hours. Where was Annie?